Hello and welcome to the morning meeting. My name is Jimmy. His name is Maddie. If you're watching this, it means I am on paternity leave, a father of two, and have two in diapers. So hopefully I'm doing okay. We recorded an interview with Emily Reynolds from Major League Cricket about kind of what goes into starting a new league and what Major League Cricket will be and all of that. And honestly, I just started asking questions that I was personally interested in. And maybe that left a lot for you guys to be like, what are they talking about? Or you'd just be also interested as well. And then at the end, I don't know if Maddie's going to keep it in or not, we totally fan out about the Women's World Cup of cricket. So thanks for tuning in. Here's that. I guess we can just get right into it. Emily Reynolds, we wrote down your title, but I'll let you explain because I feel like at new companies, titles are so kind of smaller than what you actually do. And I'm sure you do way more than your title. So if you want to introduce yourself and then your involvement with MLC, and then we'll just get to chatting.
Sure. Yeah, my full name is Emily Reynolds. I work for Major League Cricket, and my very long title is Senior Manager of Marketing and Fan Development. But I also do all the graphics that you see, so hopefully you like them, and a lot of sponsor deliverables and just a bunch of stuff in the background.
And are you the first connection to us? Were you well, I know Nate really helped bridge the gap, and always credit to Nate for getting everyone in touch in this cricket world. But I feel like you might have been the first contact, right?
Yeah, I think Nate got us in contact, and I think we talked with Courtney first, and then got to you guys.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously our Ball and Play League is about to premiere. I'm not sure when this is getting released because we might be saving it for around then or around MLC, but in late June. And then MLC starts in July. But July 13th. But we first met in person a year and a half ago in the warehouse.
I think it was April 2022. Something like that.
And you guys came and I didn't do a full, background check, but you guys showed up and then cause then I researched Liam and I'm blanking on his name now. Corey. And I was like, whoa, these are like big players. And I was like, what's going on here with MLC? And then we've had a fun relationship since where we've partnered for the Ball and Play League, and I want to do a lot more with you guys as we grow. But I thought this would be a fun podcast to chat about everything MLC is doing and your involvement with them. And I'm so interested in how new leagues happen because there's so many moving parts. I can't imagine we're not going to be able to cover everything. But how long ago did you start with MLC, or has MLC been happening?
Yeah, so I think it's almost my 2-year anniversary. So the beginning of July is when I started 2021. So it's been kind of a long road to get Major League off the ground. But they actually had, I think, a 2020 season of minor league cricket that was like pretty small and definitely hindered by COVID. So we've been kicking for kind of a long time.
Yeah, because the minor league season is what kind of wowed me. There's 21 teams. It was a full slate. And last year, the championship games or the playoff games were on all the streaming and apps that I watch and Willow TV and the apps and all that. So I was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. And now this summer, Major League Cricket's here, but it's not in its final form this summer, correct?
So yeah, this is kind of like a preview, I guess. There are 6 teams. We'll probably have 6 teams for a few years, but we only are playing in 2 locations. So we're playing in Grand Prairie, Texas and Morrisville, North Carolina, and only for 18, 19 days. So it is definitely the first iteration. We kind of had to fit in the international schedule. But yeah, we'll be expanding in the future for sure.
Will the games in North Carolina, will they rotate? Is it like 50-50, like a Wednesday? Because what I love about the cricket leagues, and for people that don't know now, is they're micro. So it's going to be every night there's a game. And on weekends, some weekends there's double headers. I just read the schedule quickly before we got on here, but I know there's Friday doubleheader, Saturday, Sunday. Is every weekend a doubleheader?
I think we have a doubleheader every weekend. There's 3 weekends. So round 1 has a doubleheader on Friday. Round 2, I think, on Sunday, and then round 3 is one of the playoffs. The knockouts are a doubleheader.
So are they doing like, how does the North Carolina field get in play? Is it split 50-50 or there's like a weekend there or?
Yeah, so we'll be in Grand Prairie the first weekend, so July 13th through I think the 18th or 19th, and then we travel to Morrisville, and all the teams will play there for the second weekend. And then the 4 teams that make it to the playoffs will then go back to Grand Prairie for the playoffs and championship.
Oh, okay, because something interesting about cricket is the ground, is the pitch is. And the more you play on it, it changes the way the game is played. So that's what I was looking at. That's such a hindrance that we don't really have in American sports, where the first match to the 10th match is going to be a different sport because of the way the field gets doctored. You see it in the IPL as well over the months, but every night that's going to be an interesting like atmosphere. It's almost like it changes the outcome of the game a little bit.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I'm not a groundskeeper by any means, but I think we'll be switching up the pitch. I think we'll have enough so that it's not like one pitch is being used so many times that it's like, no. So I think our pitch block in Grand Prairie has maybe 6 wickets. And I think Church Street has 3. Do not quote me on that.
Yeah, no. That's such an interesting, because so some stadiums, they pull them up and then move it to the center and drop it in, and others just have like 6. They look like practice, and you play on different ones, which changes the dimensions of the field. All of a sudden now lefties have the shorter porch for baseball terms, and righties have the farther distance to the fence and all that stuff. So I think it's fascinating because baseball has that on a little scale. Cricket has that on a large scale, the field factor.
It is really weird when you look at grounds around the world and they're like square or like really oval, and then when they move the pitches over, you're just like, wow, that's a really far boundary, but then the other one is really short. So
yes, there's the one in New Zealand that's a box, and the straight on and behind are like so close.
Yeah,
it's really odd. How does forming the 6 teams come to be, like from your experience? Like I know that there's 3 teams that are owned by owners of IPL teams, right? Of the 6, and the other 3 are any league owned, or do they all have individual owners or groups?
They all have individual owners or ownership groups. The 3 IPL teams, like you mentioned, are franchises of the Kolkata Knight Riders, Chennai Super Kings, and Mumbai Indians. So you've got LAKR, TSK, and MINY. And then the 3 other ones are owned by ownership groups here in the US, and they are partnered with a high performance partner, which 2 of them are from Cricket Australia states. So North, South Wales, and Victoria. And then the 3rd one, the Seattle Orcas, are partnered with the Delhi Capitals like ownership group. It's not a franchise team, but the ownership group has invested in them.
So that'll be, so like I know is it Western Australia, or is it Melbourne, or both of those?
Yeah, so Melbourne is Victoria is the state.
It like benefits them to send some of their players over to get experience playing with, because you have really high class cricketers playing on these teams, and it's a different feel, a different tournament, a different format, foreign ground. So partnering with those cities, which they want to grow their talent, right? It's like an export in a weird sense. So that's why you have a lot of Australian players are going to be playing. I saw an interview with Zampa from Australia recently, and he was talking about, of course I want to go. And is he officially, because he said where he's going, but it was kind of tongue in cheek, and I don't think it was supposed to be out there, but he said it might be that team in LA.
I cannot confirm or deny.
That's been a fun game though, finding out who's coming and who's not.
there's a lot of chatter out there, and it's really hard as the person who does our social media not to just like jump on and comment to everything because I'm like, I know the answers.
Yeah. When you first joined, how many of these 6 franchises were there, like existing, or how many? None?
None. I mean, it has been a like very interesting process because we were league owned teams, and then they got spun off. So I think it's still being figured out. So yeah, it's cool, but it's also just like, oh my gosh, there's so much on the back end that you don't ever know is going on. Like even when you're involved in it, you're just like, what's happening?
Yeah. How much of your role, I mean, the fan development, is that mostly like social, like building audience and gathering there, or are you involved in efforts to get, ticket purchases and butts and seats?
Yeah, so we actually have a really small team. Like you'd be surprised, there's probably not even like 20 of us that are full time trying to pull this off. So it started out as me doing like some community outreach and stuff like that, but I actually had to spin it off to my coworker Z, who's doing an amazing job. And she's going out to all like the local, MLR games, or where else did she go? She went to the Rough Riders, passing out flyers and stuff like that. So we are doing like, grassroots community efforts to do sales, but we're also doing paid digital ads and all that stuff as well. So that's more on my side.
Yeah. But it is something of note that I wanted to share with is like, if it's not a packed house, there's so many cricket leagues that are starting right now. And there's some that have been around for a while that, especially like the Caribbean, the CPL what's it called? Is it Caribbean Premier League?
Premier League, yeah.
So they get a lot of people for the playoff games and the bigger matches, but it's still like the money they were making is. I was looking at the ratings and I was just interested in the business. It's still crazy because people pay the streaming and they're watching on TV, and it's a new world where you don't have to. It's not like the 1990s. If you were starting a sport, you need to sell out every seat. And then you need to do crazy promotions. But with the streaming apps, and especially you guys are getting top talent from around the world where you're going to tap into some Australian audiences. I know that there's some podcasts out there that cover cricket that want to cover MLC. I don't know if you've been in touch with them, but the Grade Cricketer, the Australian podcast, they told me, they're like, we want to cover these games afterwards. Would you want? They asked me if I wanted to be part of it. I think they're awesome. I love their show, but I was like, I'm on paternity leave, so I don't know if I can. Yeah. But that's really cool. Like that's a win in and of itself that you're going to have a global audience and people in the US watching, even if you don't get a full stadium in 100-degree Texas. We
have people from all over the world continuously contacting us because they want to cover it, or they want to be involved, or they want to, like it is an American major leagues, thing, but it is a global sport. And I think, for the first year, we need to cover all of our bases, but we want to have, that in stadium feel that you would get going to any Major League Baseball or, football game. So
yeah. And year one of a league is always tough. It's tough for a league to really grip on for a while, but what you guys have is top talent.
Like we have the top talent, and the IPL teams haven't done their announcements yet, but they will in the next coming weeks. And if this is out, when they've already come out, you can go look at them on social. But they're the top, 10, 20, 30 in the world. And that was what we set up to do, and we did it. So I think that's a win for us.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm just kind of like in forums here and there. And then the buzz, I'm always wondering, are people going to be like, scoffing at a new American attempt, but then there's like, oh shit, I might have to watch now. He's playing. And that's been more the convo that I've seen is, oh man, I'm going to have to tune in. And I'm like, oh shit, they're doing it. That's so cool. I'm excited.
Yeah. From doing social media, and I'm sure you're well aware, it is very hit or miss. And you can have days where you're just like, okay, like the comments were like so bad today, but then you post one other post and it's all positive and you're like, okay, this is why I'm doing it. So,
yeah, easiest thing to do is shit on stuff. Like that's all people want to do on social media. It's very hard to train yourself to see past it, but eventually you can after a while. I am a known unicorn fan. Do you have a preference? Is it illegal for you to choose a team?
I mean, I'm in Orange County, so I think my team is going to be the LA Knight Riders,
Okay.
but I will definitely have to be very neutral when it comes to game days.
The unicorns have a very older main group of players, and I'm worried about them in the 100-degree back to back to back to back days.
They are some of the top athletes, though, that we have. So I think you're going to be okay.
Okay. And then obviously Aaron Jones, he's with the Orcas and he is team baggage. So I am rooting for him. He said he might even put a little frog on his bat at one point. We got to send him a sticker, see if he'll do that.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah. From your experience, how was the players that played in our ball and play league, which is just, airing soon? I'm sure our audience might be interested to hear an outsider's take on the warehouse or how those players reacted to it and the weirdness that our world is.
Yeah, I think they were all kind of surprised, especially when you rock up to the front of the warehouse and you're like, oh, where have I been transported to? But over the year, the first time I went, the inside was a little skeptical as well, but now it is, a professional setup. So I think once they got inside, once they got playing and got to know everybody playing with them, they were like, this is so amazing. I'm having so much fun. Please ask me back anytime.
It was funny because I missed day 2 because my eyes went dark on me. Well, when I came back for day 3, it was like that competitiveness kicked in amongst even the MLC players. I'm like, we got you. Like, you want to win now, which was what you want. You don't want them to come in. Someone, I think it might have been Justin or forget, said, maybe it was Calvin, said usually when we go play with the locals, they're not good or trying. So when we watched game 1 and you guys were like hitting it really hard and making diving plays, we're like, oh my God, this is different. I was like,
yeah, I think they were a little worried about diving on the concrete.
Yeah, they should be.
Yeah. But then I think they really got into it and they were like, no, I'm putting my body on the line.
Got intense. There was some heatedness at the end of the last couple games. I don't know if those have aired yet, but enjoy. So are you taking a deep breath once this tournament starts, or are you celebrating when it ends, or when do you get to relax?
Oh, I don't know, actually. I will be going out to Houston prior for preseason training. That's where 5 of the 6 teams will be doing all their things. So I'll be out there on the ground capturing content, sharing content, and then it's off to Dallas. And then I'll be traveling with everyone. So it's no downtime until I think August 1st. And then, we'll have postseason stuff to get out there as well. But I'll be taking some downtime with my family for sure in August.
Is the social team just you?
Yes.
Well, congrats. You're killing it.
Yeah, you are.
No, we have some content creators that do help out, but most of the stuff is done by me right now. And then hopefully we'll have a team that we've been able to hire for match day content.
Nice.
You do all the graphics. They're really good. I like the style that you guys have on all the
Thank you.
The Instagram and Facebook accounts. It pops.
That is all me. Thank you.
That's awesome. Can you explain how you became a cricket fan? I know that we asked you way back in the world, or way back when we first met in April, but maybe some people, like, you do enjoy the sport and even play the sport.
Can I curse on this?
Yes, yes, of course.
I fucking love cricket. Like, it is the coolest sport on the face of this earth. And if I would have known about it earlier, I would be playing, and I would be playing for USA Cricket. And I'd be traveling all around the world because it is the most excellent sport that you could ever find. But my story has been told before, so I'll make it quick. I traveled to Australia on a family vacation to see my brother play baseball. And I went to Sydney first. It was the New Year's Day test. And I just figured, hey, I'll do what the locals do and I'll go watch cricket. So I went and watched New Zealand versus Australia at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Had no idea what I was watching, but it was a beautiful day. And I was just asking people next to me what's going on. I bought a hat, which is my favorite hat ever. It's Cricket Australia. It's teal. It's beautiful. And then the next day, I was supposed to go to the Blue Mountains, but it was smoky because it was 2020. And I decided to stay in the hotel room and watch some more cricket, which I suggest highly that you do because the commentary helps you learn the game so much quicker.
It makes me upset about baseball announcers because if you listen to a test match or even an ODI, which is like a 1-day invitational 6-hour game, they stay on topic and they're really, really guiding you through the nuances and techniques. And baseball can't even do it for 3 hours. They have to turn into a podcast about the current events of the sport, of the world, and all their opinions. That's not the case. Even like the most recent test match, I wanted to tweet it out again, but I've tweeted out before. Like, they're really helping you. Like, it's so easy to learn, and they're not doing it for new audiences. They're just how they broadcast. It's much better.
Yeah. There's so much strategy to the game, especially test cricket, that you would never know unless there was a commentator telling you. And yeah, they're talking for 8 hours. I mean, they do it in shifts, but any term that I didn't know, I just Googled really fast and kind of just like learned along while watching. So I saw Marnus Labuschagne get his double ton, and I was like, this is so cool. Like that we celebrate 50s and hundreds, and it's a team sport, but it's individual performances and they're really like lifted up and it's just so special. It makes me honestly cry. So I had that on all 5 days whenever I could watch it. I then went to Adelaide where my brother was playing for the Adelaide Giants. But he was like, hey, did you know that the Big Bash is on? And I was like, I have no clue what that is. So he's like, I think they're in town. We should go watch a game. And so we did. We went to the Adelaide Oval, which is also a beautiful ground, saw the Strikers versus the Sixers. Rashid Khan, who will be playing for Major League Cricket.
Ooh, that's huge.
He took a hat trick during that game.
What team is he on in MLC?
He's Mumbai, or M-I-N-Y.
M-I-N-Y. The New York Mumbai Indians.
Yes.
Would be what it would be called if it would be like the New York Yankees Mumbai. The equivalent.
So, M.I. New York.
That's awesome. Well, I think they're the leader now. I think he's so good on both sides of the ball and just captaincy or like brain.
To watch the audience go absolutely berserk over a hat trick, which rightfully so, because it doesn't happen very often. And to see it in person as the second game you've ever watched in your life, I was like, I am sold. I am a fan for life. So I came home and I bought Willow and I just did a complete deep dive and became a fan. I taught myself how to bowl in my driveway during lockdown.
Nice.
I take lessons now. And then, if there's any cricket on, it's usually on in the background and I'm a complete cricket badger.
Yeah, that's what happened to me because I've never seen a game in person. Once. So it's all, I mean, maybe when I was in Australia, I saw some, or I played in the playground during recess when I lived there, but I never, since becoming like a fan, I've never watched it. So that's interesting. But I had same journey as you. Was like, I just started watching it. And I will say this, if you're like, explain cricket to me, no, just I'll do it while we're watching a game and then you'll pick it up. But it's impossible to just, if you have an American like baseball brain, to just pick it up without visuals or showing you, I think it just gets very confusing. When if you watch it and then see the scoreboard or the score bug change and then watch the next ball and then see it change, you'll get it in very quickly.
Yeah. I actually have a funny story. I was going to Morrisville, I think, for the finals, for the minor league finals last year. And the guy who was sitting next to me, we were chatting about what we do. And I was like, oh, I work for Major League Cricket. And then he was like, oh, I play sports, but I've never heard of cricket. And so I was trying to explain it to him and he wasn't really picking it up. And I was like, you know what? I have my phone, my work phone with me that has all the clips from all the minor league games. So I was like, I can just show you what each thing was. So we're sitting on the plane and he's like, this is the coolest sport. And I was like, I know, right?
It is really cool. And baseball fans would actually love it. The fact that, okay, the pitchers, the bowlers bowl, well, I'll just use baseball terms. The pitchers pitch. And then when they're not pitching, because they can only do one at bat at a time, basically, they
Right.
have to field and they have to make diving plays or like grab screaming line drives that are coming at their face. And it's a different world of like, oh, it's an all around athlete still. And I know cricket is worried about losing it to specialists a little bit. I've read that, but I'm like, well, I mean, you're not even close compared to baseball and these other sports.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what really sets it apart is you don't just have a specialized role. Like you might be a wicket keeper or a catcher,
Yeah.
but if you're a wicket keeper, usually you're a very good opening batsman or batter.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just when you find out that they all have so many skills, and it just is flawless throughout, it's mind blowing.
And the shifts and the strategies and all that. Yeah. But I don't know. I think MI New York is going to win. I think Khan is such a game changer. And I can't believe he's only 23 years old. I thought he was way older just by the way he holds himself and everyone talks about him.
I know. Every time I see him on like a U23 thing, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Well, I'm excited for that. Is that public? I've just missed that? Or is this?
No, it's not public.
Okay.
Yet.
So we'll check.
It should be on Wednesday. I think they're releasing.
Okay. That's crazy. Well, made me want to root for MI New York now. Besides, the name is so crazy. Are they going to call them by their initials like they do in the IPL, do you think?
I don't know. We've kind of been going back and forth on that. So it is really easy to say like TSK, MINY, LAKR. But then when you get to like SFU, or Washington, which is like, I don't even know what we would do. So
WF.
Yeah, WF. So
yeah,
it's still getting figured out.
Yeah, because that is very bizarre. It would be like the Yankees would be called NYY, and that's just how you would refer to them, how you would type it out, how you would verbalize it.
I think it's going to be mixed because I think you would just say orcas.
It's probably the IPL teams are called and then the other ones are not. So it's orcas, unicorn, freedom. Those are the other three.
Yep.
Okay. I'm a big unicorn fan.
Yeah. Well, I think they're going to be the first ones to get merch on sale. So
all right, I got a hat already. I don't know if you sent that to me or someone.
You have more than I do.
Oh, I thought it was probably you that put that in the mail for me. Nice. All right. Well, I think that's everything that I wanted to ask, and keeping it nice and short. But I'm fascinated. I'm sure I'll ask more questions, or maybe we'll meet again because there's still so much more developing or happening as far as like putting this whole thing together. And I'm sure the headaches are going to get increasingly worse until that July 13th actually comes.
I think today is honestly, it's a very stressful day because tickets went on sale and like everything is being released, but it's also a huge weight lifted off our shoulders.
But there's all the writers are all over. They like want to cover you guys. Everyone wants to be the first and be part of it. And
yeah,
I don't know what it is because there's a lot of new leagues, but not everyone, at least that I follow, is jumping at like, I want to be a part of this one.
It's crazy because we don't have that many followers yet on social media, but even during our draft, I think we had like maybe 20,000 followers on Instagram, and less on all the other ones. And we still had, I think, 7 million impressions over just 2 days. So it was like,
it's crazy.
I know that you guys, I'm sure, do a lot more than that.
No, that's really, and that's the names that you guys have been able to attach to it and all that. So
yeah.
I'm excited. And we have all of our ball and play friends now. So, our warehouse crowd, we have a fun way to shout out these players, all the South African guys that came and Jones, and give them love on our waves because we're introducing them. And then it's like, hey, look what he did. So I'm excited for that. Hopefully they.
I think it's going to be really. The warehouse channel has definitely taken off since your second or the season of Blitzball. So that's really cool. And then I was able to do a little video for tickets going on sale with all your guys. So that's probably going to go tomorrow.
Nice.
So it's just like, it's fun. It's bringing the universes together, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. Except we might have lost Darren Sammy now to, if we do Ball and Play 3 or when we do it because he's coaching
he took the coaching job.
I know. I had the game, the versus UAE. I had the matches on in the office and I was like, look who it is, guys. And they're like, whoa. I was like, he's coach now.
Oh, he's the best guy. He's so good.
Yeah, he's awesome. But I'm very excited for the Ashes. The Ashes the first is soon. It's like next week or this week.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually, you know, what's funny is I watch women's cricket more than I watch. I guess that's not funny, but I love women's cricket. So I'm more excited for the women's Ashes than the men's Ashes.
But
And I actually bought tickets to the test because I was like, oh, I'll sneak over to the UK and go to the test match. And now I'm like, there's no way in hell that I can do that. But if anybody wants tickets, yeah.
well, women's cricket, the Women's World Cup was super fun.
Dude.
Because the play, it's some sports you need the brute strength and just kind of like who can jump the highest or hit it the farthest is going to be better. But I don't think that's the case with bat and ball and strategy and skill sports. Like the Women's World Cup was awesome. There was so much action and runouts and catches and passion. I even think the same thing. I think college softball is way more interesting than college baseball.
Yeah, I've been seeing your videos and I'm like, dang, this is interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just it's fun.
It's fun. And like you said in that one video where she just like immediately starts crying.
Yeah.
I guess it's like it's very similar in women's cricket, but yeah, the emotions are just like a little bit just more hits you, you know, in the heart instead of the brain or whatever. So
there's less aggro, you know, there's not that much. And if there is, like in these College World Series, like they're doing shit like celebrating. If men's softball did or men's baseball did that, they'd like hit them with the next pitch. But the other team doesn't seem to ever fucking care in softball, like that she's like hollering and like going crazy. And then they just don't care. You know, it doesn't seem like there's that animosity between teams, but there's still that same like passion for yourself, which is a better mix.
And I think that they've been talking about this a lot with men's cricket is all the players have gotten really friendly with each other because they play now on all these other teams. And so when they play international matches, it's not as like fraught because they all are just like kind of joking instead of, you know.
Yeah. But the England and Australia men's team have been talking shit this whole way up to this Ashes. It's kind of crazy.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And the Australian women's team of cricket is basically like the Oklahoma softball team. They just went 55-0. The Australian women's cricket team they don't have the star, I forget her name. She's not playing in the Ashes.
So Meg Lanning, their captain, is not playing that, which is so sad. But they've got so many other stars that I think they still got it in the bag.
Yeah. The Women's World Cup was awesome. I watched all that.
Yeah.
The South African
Australia-India match.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That semifinals, that got me so mad.
That stumping where she was mad about it, but it's like, wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Harmanpreet Kaur stumping or the run out.
The run out where she took the bails off just kind of because, and then her bat got caught.
It got stuck.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah.
That was so cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let you go. Thank you for joining, and we'll stay in touch.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Emily.
Bye.